going to be making a really yummy dish today. We're going to be using about half a kilo of lean beef mince. I've got just slightly over half a kilo, which is about 1 and a bit pounds. Now for the spices, I'm actually going to use some curry powder. I've got about 4 to 5 teaspoons. These are the ones you put the sugar in your tea. So 4 to 5 teaspoons of curry powder. Then we've got some mango chutney, the sort of ones you have with your poppadoms. I'm using about 4 dessert spoons, so the one you have your pudding with. And if we move this round, similar quantity of sultanas, like a little handful. We've got a few bay leaves there. I've got a sort of medium-sized onion, so peel that, chop it up. 1 apple. I mean, I've actually picked this straight off my tree and I'm going to use that. But any sort of normal apple you eat, not a cooking apple, just normal apple, one you like the flavour of. And then we've got about half a pint of milk, any milk, and a little bit of tomato puree. We've got 1 slice of bread there and a couple of eggs. Now just before I start cooking the beef mince, what I want to do is break up the bread here, and I'm going to soak it in some milk so the milk gets absorbed by the bread. I'm also then going to chop up the onions fairly fine, and again similar for the apple as well, little sort of pieces really. So let's get on with doing some cooking. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in the pan, any oil, let that heat up until it's nice and hot. So I'm going to just pour in this sort of medium-sized onion, fairly finely chopped, just to really help get the flavours in there. So give that a stir around. Just cook that for about a minute. Just give it a quick stir around, and we just make a little place in the middle there. Because what we're going to do is to put the mince in there now and try and get that a bit browned off. Pop that in there. Just leave that for a minute, and what we'll do is get this a little bit browned off, move that aside, and then put some more in. Because what we want to do is really try and build up some colour on the mince itself. I'm just going to sort of stick this over. I'm using a wooden fork here because these are really good on non-stick pans. So just turn this over, and again just round the edges. You can start mixing it all together. Now we're going to put a little bit more mince in the middle there again. I'm just going to add more of that mince. Probably going to do it, in 3 bits really. So that's 2 bits. Again, just leave that cooking, high temperature all the way through, stir that over and mix it all up, and then put the last bit of the mince in. Just leave that for a minute and then turn it over again. Okay, I'm just going to turn this over, and then we're going to add a little bit of seasoning to this, bit of salt and pepper. So just squish it around. Oh, drops a bit there, silly of me. Pop that on the top. Spread it out. Just try and get it all so it's, a nice sort of brown colour. You see it's starting to get a nice colour there. That's what we're looking for really on bits, because it adds to the flavour. So I'm just going to pop a bit of salt and pepper in there as well. I'm just going to put a bit of salt. You always need to season your food. And again, some black pepper. Obviously do these sort of things to taste. I find a good pinch is good. I'm just going to give that last stir up now. And the next thing to go in is going to be that curry paste. Break that down, and then we're going to add the curry paste in there. What I'm going to do is just going to again make a little place in the middle. I'm just going to add the curry paste in there, pop it all in. I'm going to slowly start blending that in with the meat and all the oil. Just mix this all around. We only want to cook this now for less than a minute, just to sort of get everything a bit coated. We seasoned it so it's smelling good, really nice. So I'm going to start adding the final ingredients. I mean, you can use passata if you want, but tomato puree, I'm probably going to use about 1/3 of a tube. Richens it all up and gives it a nice colour. You can always add a bit more if you want. So just cook that a little bit in the middle. I'm just going to give it a final mix there, and then we're going to add some sultanas next. Now I've got the sultanas there. I mean, I'm just going to kind of sprinkle those on. like so. Next thing to go in is I've got the apple, which we just peeled, a normal apple that you eat, not a cooking apple, and again sort of chopped it, so added that in. Mango chutney. Then we've got that one slice of bread which we added with a little bit of milk, and I'm just going to literally just pour that in, mix it all up, and then give it a quick taste. So I'll just mix it for about a minute. I'm going to turn it off the heat now, and I'm just going to check it for seasoning, try a little bit of the mince. Right, I'm just going to try a bit of the mince, see how it is. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit extra spice to mine and put a little bit more curry powder in. Obviously do it to taste. This is at the point where you can add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, you can add a little bit of tomato puree. You're at that stage where you can change things, and then we're going to put it into a dish and pop it in the oven. So I'm just going to mix this up now, and I'm only going to cook this now for another 30 seconds. So I'm just going to take this off the heat and I'm going to pour it into a baking dish, and then just try and spread it out. It smells lovely. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put a bit of tin foil over the top of this. I'm just going to pop the tin foil on and then pop it straight in the oven. So what we're going to do is to pop it into a preheated oven, 180 degrees Celsius, and cook that for 25-30 minutes. So I'm just going to pop that in the oven, about half an hour, 108 degrees Celsius. We're into about the last 10 minutes of cooking the meaty stuff in the oven. So I'm just going to drop in a couple of eggs. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, that helps to kind of break it down and give it a bit of seasoning, and some black pepper. This is going to be like the, I'm going to add some milk to this. This is going to be like the sort of sauce, eggy sauce that goes on top. Now give that a quick stir, break those eggs up a little bit. Now the next thing I'm going to add to it is the rest of that milk, because in total, you know, with soaking the bread and what's left, we actually used half a pint of milk. So I'm just going to pour that all in there. So we'll just mix this up, and again, the next thing we're going to add to that is going to be some grated cheese. You don't have to use the cheese. I mean, I've just used cheddar here, but you can leave the cheese out if you don't like it. And just sort of mix this up. We'll just wait for a few more minutes, and then we'll obviously pull the dish out of the oven again. And just literally pour this on top. Been there for about half an hour, so I'm going to take it out, take the tin foil off, and then we're going to pop the egg on. It smells lovely, absolutely lovely. Now I've got that sort of egg mixture we made up, a couple of eggs and the milk, salt and pepper. Just pour that over the top. Just before you pop it in the oven, just pop a few bay leaves on there. So we're going to put it back in the oven now. So no tin foil this time, just leaving it as it is. So I'll leave that cooking and wait until it's all done. It'll be delicious. So I've been cooking 180 degrees Celsius for about 30 minutes. So I'm now going to pull it out, let it rest for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're going to serve it up. I've left it for about 15 minutes, so I'm just going to cut a little portion there, trim that around the side, and I'm going to pop that onto a plate. So if I just grab that like so, looks really nice. I want to show you that. Look at that, beautiful colour. You can see where all the sort of mixture of the flavours, sultanas and everything is in there. Now I've got it served up on the plate. I'm just going to try a little bit of that, so you can see. Look, you've got, you know, really nice mixture underneath and that sort of eggy cheesy bit on top. Looks really delicious. You know, it's nicely coloured there. Oh, can't wait. Let me try this. I love it. Really nice. Really cheap dish to make, but it's so delicious. Thanks for watching. Enjoy.